You think you're intelligent? Then why do stupid people still control your emotions? Why does one careless comment from a fool live in your head rent-free? Here is the truth no one tells you. Intelligence is not proven by winning arguments. It is proven by what you refuse to react to. Stupid people don't defeat you with logic. They defeat you with noise. And if you are still fighting noise, you are not as smart as you think. Let me show you how intelligent people deal with stupid people, and why most smart individuals fail at it. Intelligent people do not argue. They observe. They understand something most people never learn. Arguments are rarely about truth. They are about ego, about dominance, about being seen as right. And when a person is desperate to be right, logic no longer matters. So the intelligent one stays quiet. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they are studying everything. They watch tone instead of words. They watch insecurity behind confidence. They watch patterns behind opinions. A fool argues to convince you. An intelligent mind listens to decode you. When someone raises their voice, they notice the loss of control. When someone interrupts, they notice the fear of being overshadowed. When someone mocks, they notice the fragile ego begging for validation. Observation reveals what arguments never will. In an argument, both sides speak. In observation, only one side exposes, and people always expose themselves. Give someone enough time, and they will confess their weaknesses without realizing it. Their triggers, their blind spots, their level of discipline, their emotional maturity. It all leaks out in the heat of disagreement. The intelligent person does not interrupt that leak. They let it flow. They remain calm while the other person performs. Because emotional reaction is expensive. It drains clarity. It hands control to the loudest person in the room. And intelligent people do not surrender control so cheaply. They know that once you react, you are no longer leading the interaction. You are following it. You are dancing to someone else's chaos. So they slow down. They ask fewer questions. They give shorter answers. They create space. And in that space, truth becomes visible. Most people fear silence in conflict. It feels like weakness. It feels like losing. But silence is pressure. Silence makes insecure people talk more. Silence makes liars contradict themselves. Silence makes emotional minds collapse under their own weight. Observation is not passive. It is strategic patience. The intelligent person gathers data. They measure temperament. They measure intelligence. They measure usefulness. Because every interaction is information, and information is leverage. While the fool is trying to win the moment, the intelligent one is studying for the long game. Intelligent people control emotion like a weapon. They understand something dangerous. Emotion is power. Uncontrolled emotion is surrender. Most people think intelligence is about words, about arguments, about sounding superior. It is not. The real advantage appears the moment pressure enters the room, when accusations fly, when disrespect is thrown, when someone tries to provoke. That is where intelligence is measured. A fool reacts instantly. Anger rises, voice sharpens, ego steps forward like a soldier without armor. And in that moment, control is lost. Because whoever triggers you, owns you. Intelligent people know this. They feel the same surge of anger, the same impulse to defend, the same urge to dominate. But they do not obey it. They pause. That pause is power. In that small gap between stimulus and response, they decide who they are going to be. Not victims of emotion, but commanders of it. When someone insults them, they do not rush to retaliate. They study the intention. Is this insecurity? Is this projection? Is this manipulation? They remain steady. Calm tone, slow breath, relaxed posture. The emotional person expects resistance. They expect noise. They expect escalation. Silence and composure disarm them. Because anger feeds on reaction. Without reaction, it starves. Intelligent people use this deliberately. They let others burn energy, while they conserve theirs. They let others raise their voice, while they lower theirs. They let others expose instability, while they display control. And control is intimidating. A calm person in chaos appears dangerous, unbothered, unmoved, unreachable. This creates psychological imbalance. The emotional aggressor begins to doubt. Why is this not working? Why can I not shake them? Why do they not break? And doubt weakens confidence. Intelligent people know that visible anger is vulnerability. It reveals where you can be attacked. It reveals what matters too much. So they guard their reactions not by suppressing emotion, but by mastering it. They channel anger into strategy, frustration into focus, disappointment into calculation. Emotion becomes fuel, not fire. They decide when to show it, how much to show, and why. Because controlled emotion can dominate a room. A single calm sentence delivered at the right moment can dismantle a loud performance. Power does not shout. It watches, it measures, it strikes only when necessary. Intelligent people let fools expose themselves. They understand a brutal truth. You do not need to destroy someone who is committed to destroying themselves. Most people rush to correct stupidity. They interrupt, they debate, they try to educate, and in doing so they interrupt the collapse. A fool given a stage will eventually reveal everything, their arrogance, their ignorance, their insecurity, but only if you allow them to speak. Intelligent people resist the urge to interfere. They lean back, they listen, they let the performance unfold. Because stupidity has a pattern. It speaks too confidently about things it barely understands. It exaggerates. It contradicts itself. It grows louder when challenged. When someone is desperate to appear superior, they overextend. They make bold claims. They attack others personally. They attempt to dominate the room with noise. And noise always contains cracks. The intelligent person sees those cracks forming, but they do not rush to point them out. Why? Because when you expose someone directly, they become defensive. When they expose themselves, they lose credibility without a fight. And credibility, once lost, is rarely restored. Silence creates space. In that space, fools feel the need to fill it. They talk more. They explain more. They justify more. Every extra sentence increases the chance of self-destruction. Intelligent people understand timing. They wait. They observe the reactions of others in the room. They notice when attention shifts. They notice when people begin to doubt. Influence changes quietly, without confrontation, without effort. The fool believes they are winning. They mistake silence for weakness. They mistake patience for fear. And that illusion encourages them to push further, until they say too much, reveal too much, expose motives they should have hidden. Intelligent people know that public humiliation is unnecessary. Self-humiliation is far more powerful. It carries no backlash, no sympathy, no rescue, because no one attacked them. They simply revealed themselves. This strategy requires discipline. Ego will beg you to respond, to correct, to dominate. But intelligence is not about immediate victory. It is about long-term position. When a fool collapses under the weight of their own words, the intelligent person remains untouched. No fingerprints, no visible aggression, only quiet awareness. And quiet awareness is difficult to challenge, because you cannot argue with someone who never entered the fight. Intelligent people choose battles carefully. They understand that conflict is expensive. Every argument costs energy. Every confrontation drains focus. Every unnecessary fight steals time. And time is power. Fools fight over everything. Every comment feels like disrespect. Every disagreement feels like war. Every challenge feels like an attack on identity. So they react to all of it. They defend every point. They correct every mistake. They try to win every room. And in trying to win everything, they lose themselves. Intelligent people are selective. They ask one question before engaging. Is this worth my energy? Not worth my ego, not worth my pride, but worth my energy. Because energy once spent does not return. If the person lacks influence, lacks intelligence, lacks relevance, why engage if the outcome changes nothing, builds nothing, improves nothing? Why fight? Silence is often the higher move. Walking away is often the stronger position. Not every insult deserves acknowledgement. Sometimes responding elevates nonsense. Sometimes defending yourself validates false accusation. Intelligent people understand perception. When you argue with someone far beneath your level, observers do not see equality. They see two people fighting. And that lowers you. Strategic minds protect the image. They know that attention is currency, and they refuse to spend it on cheap situations. This does not mean weakness. It means calculation. When they do choose to engage, it is deliberate. It is precise. It is controlled. They enter conflict with purpose, clear objective, clear boundary, clear exit. They do not fight emotionally, they fight structurally. If confrontation strengthens position, they confront. If silence preserves power, they remain silent. If walking away sends a stronger message, they walk. They understand something most never learn. You do not have to attend every battle you are invited to. Provocation is often a trap, designed to pull you into chaos, designed to make you react, designed to drain you. Intelligent people see the trap, and traps only work when stepped into. They conserve strength, they protect focus, they choose timing, because the most dangerous individual is not the one who fights often, it is the one who fights rarely, but wins decisively when they do. Intelligent people use detachment as armor. They understand that attachment creates vulnerability. The more you need approval, the easier you are to control, the more you crave validation, the faster you will react. Fools are emotionally entangled with everything. Opinions feel personal, disagreements feel like betrayal, rejection feels like humiliation. So they cling to praise, to status, to being understood, and anyone who controls those things controls them. Intelligent people detach, not because they feel nothing, but because they refuse to be owned. They separate their identity from other people as opinions. If someone criticizes them, they assess it calmly. Is it useful? Is it projection? Is it irrelevant? They do not collapse under it. They do not inflate because of praise either. Compliments do not intoxicate them. Insults do not destabilize them, because both are external forces, and external forces should not command internal stability. Detachment creates emotional independence. When you expect nothing, you are rarely disappointed. When you need nothing, you cannot be manipulated. Most social pressure works through fear. Fear of exclusion, fear of judgment, fear of losing status. Detach from those fears, and pressure weakens. Intelligent people do not chase attention, they observe it. They do not beg to be understood. They let misunderstanding exist, because explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you is a waste of strength. Detachment also reveals truth. When you step back emotionally, you see dynamics clearly. Who respects you? Who envies you? Who competes with you? Emotional attachment blinds judgment. It makes you defend people who harm you, trust people who exploit you, stay where you are undervalued. Detachment removes illusion. It allows cold assessment. This person is useful. This situation is draining. This environment limits growth. And once assessed, action becomes easier. Walking away feels lighter. Saying no feels natural. Setting boundaries feels necessary. People often mistake detachment for arrogance. But it is discipline. It is the refusal to let temporary emotions dictate permanent consequences. When someone tries to provoke, detachment absorbs the impact. When someone withdraws approval, detachment remains stable. When someone attempts manipulation, detachment recognizes the pattern. Armor does not mean isolation. It means protection. It means choosing connection consciously, not desperately. And a person who cannot be emotionally cornered cannot be psychologically dominated. 6. Intelligent people build power in silence. Expend it and don't heading any ending sentence in 400 words. Intelligent people build power in silence. They understand that real power does not announce itself. It develops quietly. While others compete for attention, they compete for competence. Fools broadcast everything, their plans, their goals, their ambitions. They crave recognition before results. They want applause before achievement, and in doing so, they expose their intentions too early. Intelligent people move differently. They speak less about what they are building. They simply build. No dramatic declarations, no constant updates, no need for validation, because attention can attract resistance. The moment you announce growth, you awaken competition. You trigger envy. You invite sabotage. Silence protects progress. When no one knows your next move, no one can prepare against it. While others argue publicly, intelligent people improve privately, skills sharpened, knowledge expanded, networks strengthened. They invest in leverage in ability, leverage in resources, leverage in relationships, and leverage multiplies influence. They understand something dangerous. Visibility is not the same as power. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most capable. True strength often appears ordinary, unassuming, calm, neutral, until it is needed. Silence also creates mystery. And mystery commands respect. When people cannot fully read you, they become cautious. They project depth onto you. They assume calculation. This psychological edge is subtle, but powerful. Intelligent people do not correct every misconception about themselves. Sometimes being underestimated is an advantage. It lowers defenses. It reveals intentions. It allows strategic positioning. While others focus on proving intelligence, they focus on increasing it. Certifications earned quietly, opportunities secured silently, money accumulated discreetly. By the time results appear, they appear undeniable, and by then, it is too light for competitors to catch up. Power built in silence is stable. It is not dependent on hype or constant approval. It is rooted in preparation, in discipline, in patience. When the moment arrives to act, they do so decisively, no hesitation, no explanation, no warning, because they were preparing long before anyone noticed. And preparation hidden from view creates outcomes that seem effortless, but nothing about it was accidental.